the NEWRA meeting, North Waterfront Residents Association. I'm Ford Cavallari, and David Goggins is with me at the front table, and we have various officers around the room with name tags. I'm going to try to make up a little time that we squandered by our technical difficulties by going quickly through my report. The first thing that I wanted to remind everyone is that we are on videotape. For those of you who don't know, we get videotaped every week, every month, I should say. That's awesome. The second thing I want to say is that we do have some government related folks here, and I'm hoping that they can go around the room and identify themselves, and there's one that we have a special announcement about. Whoever wants to start.
Nicole Leo, I'm actually leaving the mayor's office. I'm actually gone. I started a new job on Monday. Temporarily, Tom McKay will be covering for me, so I just wanted to bring him here tonight to introduce you. He will be covering until there is a permanent replacement, so effective Monday, this Monday, Tom is covering the north end.
You can send contact information if I need their contact.
No, I have different contact information.
You can call my phone number.
You can call Nicole's phone number, it's forwarding to the front desk, and then they'll send that to me. My information is also on the city's website. I have some cards that I can leave as well. I currently do Charlestown, so all of my information is up there, but I can leave some cards up front as well that has my phone number and email on it.
Thank you. Welcome Bob, you want to?
Yeah, I'd like to have a show of enthusiasm for Nicole for all the work she's done for us.
We hope you can stick around.
We're leaving.
It'd be worth a while to stick around. Anyhow, thank you very much for everything you've done. You've worked very diligently through several mayoral administrations, and you've done some great things for us. We really appreciate it. Thank you for putting so much of yourself into the North End. And I hope that the Registrar of Deeds office, did you tell everyone that's where you're going?
Going to be the assistant registrar in the registry of births, deaths, and marriages for the city.
But
So come visit me, 213.
not working in the death department.
Marriage department.
So that's good. Well, good luck in your registration of marriage.
Thank you. Tom's gonna leave his cards.
Hello.
Hi everybody, Maria from Senator Petroselli's office. I have no new announcements other than to thank Nicole for all she does.
Yeah.
And she's done, so.
Where's Patrick? Is he?
I don't know.
Okay. Aaron's office. Anyone else from the city? Anyone from the city councilor's offices? No one. Okay, great. Everyone must be wanting to enjoy this wonderful day. So we're going to be able to power through some of the stuff that we're going to do. And I'm going to try to cut my report, as I mentioned earlier, down. There are three things that I wanted to mention. The first is sort of a public service announcement. As many of you know, in addition to the Residents Association and the Neighborhood Council, NEWRA, the president of NEWRA is Phil, Phil Fraterelli, sitting over there. Phil has his group has an election, a big election on Saturday. And Phil, do you want to say anything about how important it is to vote?
It's our annual election. There's 6 open seats, 8 people running for the 8 seats. I'm one of them, so I'm not going to say too much about it. But I encourage all newer members, as usual, to come and vote and support the neighborhood council as we support you by coming to your meetings. So. It's from 10 to 2 at Ms. Arison, right in this one. Thank you.
Great, thank you. The second thing that I wanted to mention was some of our committees. Robin Reed is our Parks and Open Spaces Committee Chairman. She is not here because she had a conflict with work. She'll be coming sort of in process. But I did want to continue urging members to volunteer. We've made some progress in parks and open spaces. The committee put together a letter that we've sent to Chris Cook asking that we get some prioritization on the Paul Revere Mall, otherwise known as the Prado. Chris Cook is the chair of he's the Parks Commissioner, Chief Commissioner of the Parks Department. So Chris Cook is the chief parks guy. And we wrote a letter to him, because it's parks and open spaces, asking that the Prado be given a little TLC, because it hasn't gotten a whole lot. And there is a conversation underway. We're hopeful that we can actually get the city to take very seriously the renovations that need to be done there, and we can get it fast-tracked. And we've had a lot of success. Chris Cook was here at David's opening of the Rough Dog Park at the Gassy. And that's, of course, a pilot program, and we're hoping that the pilot works and we get another park online, because a fair amount of money will flow in if we go to the final stage. We're hoping to get a fair amount of money flowing in to fix up the mall, too. But we need help in doing that. We need help in trying to figure out how we're going to fundraise. We want to challenge the city to dollar-for-dollar match anything that we can raise. We're in the position where we can do fundraising as a 501c3, and we just need help. So if folks want to volunteer, that would be helpful. Another thing I want to mention on the open spaces part of Parks and Open Spaces is that we have a lot of trees in the North End, and we should be grateful, because there are a lot of cities that don't have as many trees as we do. But we don't have too many trees. And it always is upsetting when trees get cut down when you don't think they're going to be cut down. And there was a situation like that at one of the residential complexes on the waterfront about a week and a half ago. And because there's been a frenzy of activity around that, I have learned all sorts of things about trees and all the protections there are for trees in the North End. There is protection for any tree on a right-of-way, including the Harbor Walk, where you need to have a tree hearing before you remove the trees. There is a special dispensation for trees in the tidal area, and much of the North End is considered to be in a tidal region. And finally, there are some other BRA, because if you're in the urban renewal zone, which we have an urban renewal zone, most of the waterfront of our lovely North End is in the downtown urban renewal zone. And if it's a BRA sort of leasehold kind of property, like everything on the waterfront, the BRA actually controls all that land. There's another set of protections. So I want everyone to be aware that if you see people chopping trees down, you can say something, because unless they have a permit, they're probably not supposed to be doing it. And again, there are hearings that people are supposed to have when these ideas of cutting trees down are actually acted upon. The BRA has been helpful, and I've been trying to mediate a little bit between the building owners or the particular complex and the BRA. The Conservation Commission often levies fines in situations like this, but I've been trying to make sure that we don't necessarily have punitive fines in the North End. Maybe we can make an example of the particular place in some other way, more productive way. The one thing the BRA asked us as NEWRA, they said, do you have a tree survey? Have you done a tree inventory in the North End? And I thought, no, never actually thought about doing a tree inventory. And I said, do you just want us to do a tree count? And they said, well, if you could do a tree count plus the types of trees, that would be very helpful, because they'll put a special look on, and if we did such a tree inventory, we'd enhance the protection of the trees that are in the inventory. So one of the things I wanted to suggest also is that if we have folks who might be interested in doing the spectacularly interesting activity of going around the North End, looking at all the trees, figuring out what kind of tree it is and writing it down and putting it on a map, or we'll figure out a way to do it. We would love to have you as a volunteer, because I have a feeling this is going to be an activity that's going to be one of those things where we're going to need a groundswell of people to do. So just putting that out there and hoping that everyone is interested in parks and open spaces, both parks and open spaces, and here's something you can do. Question?
Well, could you like get assigned a street or something? Because, you know, taking on the whole north end would be.
Right. Well, I think the first thing we'd want to do is, you know, at the Parks and Open Spaces Committee, probably organize how we're going to do it. I think street volunteers would be a great thing if we divide the north end into 20 sections and then try to have captains and rally people to in those areas to find other people who will own streets. That would be great. So, you know, we just need to figure it out from first steps. So if, you know, that's a great idea. If you want to come and give that idea to the Parks and Open Spaces Committee. They meet on the first Tuesday of every month. And what date is it?
It's June 2.
June 2. First
It's on the
Tuesday.
back of the agenda.
Yes.
You bring that.
What, for trees? Well, when Google Maps can tell you what kind of tree is somewhere, I will be very, very impressed. I'll be passing those trees in the Google driver-free car, I think, at the time. But I think it's a good start. At least we'll know where trees are.
Maybe a school project.
Could be. You know, we definitely have to be creative in how to do it, because I think it's sort of, you know, it could be one of those kinds of projects that, you know, just no one wants to do. Definitely, because we can help save our trees. And I wanted to tell the story about trees getting cut down to set up, not necessarily to say to you know, hand-wring about a mistake that I think was made. I think there are some people at that complex that don't think they made a mistake, but I think that mistake was made and many others do too. But rather than hand-wringing about the past, I think it's an opportunity for us to reset on the future. If we can figure out how to protect the trees in the north end, you know, and it should pervade a lot of the things that we do here. I think if you have businesses that are going to expand and cut down trees, we should maybe say, look, if you want to do that, you have to plant trees. Bob?
We got a lot of students from Suffolk down here. Instead of them drinking all night, they can do the trees.
Okay.
They can go out and do some community service.
I think they're gone for the year.
I think you should be the ambassador that makes the proposition to them, booze or tree inventory. No, I think actually, no.
It's a good idea.
John Nuzzi from Suffolk and other folks who
They
work
wanna
in the
do
administration
something.
there could potentially be helpful. And there are other students from other schools too. You know, so we'd love a groundswell of effort. The last thing I want to do, please, yeah. Hi. Nina.
I've been trying to figure out who has jurisdiction over some trees that are on Cross Street between North Street and Fulton Street that were planted, you know, at the end of Big Dig. And they're now dying. There are 4 of them in tree pits. And there's no leaves, they're just gray things sticking up. And I can't seem to figure out who is in charge of them.
One of the challenges is that there's so many jurisdictions that sometimes it's
Not part of the Greenway.
It's not. It's definitely. It may now be part of the Greenway because they just picked up a bunch of knick-knack parcels, including area around the old Tunnel Authority building. But I don't know about. I think what you're describing is near the parking lot and.
No, it's North Street, Fulton Street. It's right across Street on the north end side, along the sidewalk.
Right.
It's right near the parking lot.
So it's
behind Spalding.
Right. It's adjacent to that parking lot.
Right.
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 Yeah. So I would imagine that that's Public Works that owns that, but we can find out.
I mean, I actually asked a truck that was parked on Commercial Street one day, some guys from the Park Service.
Yeah.
If they knew who I should talk to, and they had no idea.
They said no. Well,
I suggest Mass DOT. Mass Department of Transportation. Yes, because they are the successors to the Turnpike Authority, which is the Big Dig.
Right.
And I'm sure they laid the sidewalk. Whether they're obliged to maintain also, I don't know. But anyway, that's a start.
we'll ask our Parks and Open Spaces Committee members.
I mean, I'd be willing to help you with the whole
Sure, that'd be great. And on Tuesday, June 2nd, we'll have an answer. Please.
There is a volunteer group doing a city tree survey within the next month or two. And the Earthwatch organization sent around a request for volunteers. So somehow,
Oh, that would be great.
relate to them, you maybe a little technical expertise.
If you have any information
I'll send
on
it.
that, that would be
Thank you.
great. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we don't want to reinvent the wheel if we don't have to. So that's great. And if we could join up with them, that would be terrific. Using that, you know, and getting a little, you know, many of you have heard me complain about some of the extraordinary authority the BRA has to just add stories to buildings and otherwise steal, you know, rob us of shade and other things. This is an opportunity where the BRA appears to be very willing to engage to help us to save trees. So, you know, very positive. So great. We'll look for that help. Now, I want to move to another item that I have. I just wanted to show you guys this very briefly. This is our website, the NEWRA website. How many people have ever logged onto the NEWRA website? More than I thought. So there's some new stuff. There's some new stuff on the NEWRA website. One of the things you're going to see on the homepage are new NEWRA data maps, a police public safety crime report, a code enforcement violation report, the mayor's hotline inquiries from the past month, and building permits, you know, that both active and old since, you know, a date that's posted. I want to show you guys some of these applications because I think these are going to be useful tools for folks if they're interested. Now, our internet connection and with our yeah, it's going very slowly. So I may need to do hand puppets while it does this, or we may just have to forget about it. But one of the things I wanted to, at least I got to show you what buttons to push. I don't know if the buttons are actually going to work here because of the internet speed, but try this again. Yeah, I just have a feeling that there's something badly wrong with the internet in this room.
So,
Yeah. Let's try this. Well, here's one. I'm not going to push my luck. I'm going to just stay with one. But this is basically a police crime report. It's a view since February 13th, so it's sort of a 1-month view. You can take a look at different crime types, investigations, all to, you know, they're gun-related crimes. You know, this works citywide, so you can start scrolling the map into other neighborhoods if you want. But this is a very useful complement to the excellent meeting that David Marks of Munich runs on public safety. If you want to see a map view of where all the crimes happen, this is the application. If you want to see a map view of all of the 311 calls, mayor's hotline calls, or the Connect app that people use to communicate, Citizens Connect app, this consolidates all of those reports. Plus there are some other useful maps like the building permit map. So if you hear hammering, you wonder if people have a building permit, you'll actually be able to see that they have a building permit or that they don't have a building permit. So these are some new tools I wanted to let you guys know about. And that is it for the President's report, and that's sort of it for this computer as well. So I will pass the report baton over to, why don't we do membership and why don't we do ZLC, because we won't really have anything for parks.
Okay, from the membership committee we have some members who haven't been here for a while and returned, so welcome back. And a few new members, this is their first membership meeting, so welcome to them. We've got still some people who haven't renewed, but none of them are here tonight, so I can reach into the choir. And aside from that, if there's anyone who is a member who hasn't checked in, please do so, just so I can keep track of you for voting purposes. We don't have any voting items tonight, but still it's important to check in. Thank you.
On the ZLC, which stands for Zoning Licensing and Construction, I'll do past ZLC meeting, last month's ZLC meeting to come, and a couple of updates on information. At our April 28th meeting, we had 3 to 5 Quincy Court, which is a 6-unit building, and they want to make the 2 upper units duplexes, which would involve constructing a roof. This is a poster child for a process that works. As you know, we have a 2-step process in NEWRA. ZLC first, then the voting at a meeting like this. There are no votes tonight, but this is when the voting would take place. And the purpose of the ZLC meeting is to try to get abutters and affected parties together with the proponent to work out problems. That has worked with the 3 to 5 Quincy Court proposal. There have been at least 2 meetings. There have been 2 revisions to the plans that they propose. The meetings are going on, and it looks as though, as I say, the system is working. They will probably be on the June 11th NEWRA agenda for a vote here. 290 North Street is La Capella Suites to convert a single-family house with a B&B to 5 residential units. Again, there were a lot of abutter and impacted neighbors who had issues. That is being worked out, or at least being worked together on, and that will probably be on the June 11th NEWRA agenda for vote. 406 to 418 Commercial Street, which is the building opposite the Coast Guard building, where there was a chiropractor's office. They want to change the chiropractor's office to a residential unit, to add 1 so that where there were 8, there will now be 9. Everyone supported that, every impacted condominium owner. The condominium association voted to support it. Each individual owner emailed support, and therefore the executive committee voted to send a letter of no objection. 75 Commercial Street was, which is in the back of the Mercantile building, was to be a small 20-seat restaurant, also selling retail products from Italy. The plan was to, in the restaurant, use the products so that people would know that if you cook with these products, it can come out like this. But for some reason, that was taken off. I was notified to take it off the May 26th ZLC list. For some reason, they did not decide to go forward with it. So
the whole thing, sorry, the whole thing or just the restaurant?
the whole thing, the
Okay.
whole thing, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. They just don't know.
Well, it's disappeared for the time being anyway.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what it's done.
Right.
Although my sense is that it's permanent disappearance, but maybe not. The ZLC meeting to come will be May 26th. 3 to 5 Quincy Court will be on it again because the proponent and the neighbors are working things out. The next one on the 26th will be 417 Hanover Street, which is NEWRA Restaurant, which has been a restaurant for several years. Apparently there was some lack of legalizing when it became a restaurant. Describe it in general terms. And the building is being sold, and the buyer's attorney doing his due diligence, his or her, apparently found that it hadn't been legalized. So they now want to legalize restaurant use at Nico's Restaurant, where it has been used as a restaurant for several years.
And several restaurants.
And several restaurants.
Before Nico. Two restaurants before Nico.
Nico's Restaurant, that's true, yes. The next thing that will be on May 26th ZLC, by the way, the ZLC meetings are held in the Mariner's House, 2nd floor of Mariner's House. Everyone is invited.
And the Parks meetings are there.
The Parks meetings are there also. Is Cafe Pompeii. Cafe Pompeii is being sold to the De Pasquale Enterprises. Frank De Pasquale's son, Joseph, is going to be president, treasurer, and clerk of a new Corporation. And that will be on the May 26th ZLC agenda. A couple of pertinent things. There has been for years a 4 a.m. food license there. That will be continued. Pompeii, as it now exists, has a 12 midnight wine, beer, and cordials license, but Mr. De Pasquale intends to transfer an all-alcohol license with a 2 a.m. closing from another location in downtown to this site. A floor plan will be forwarded to the ZLC, which I just received, so that you can see what the new layout will be, count the number of bar seats, and come to the May 26th meeting to get more information. The attorney for Mr. De Pasquale is Bill Ferrullo. And finally, there is a possibility of an item on the ZLC agenda on May 26th, 158 Salem Street, which is Boschetto's Bakery. If you're looking at Boschetto's, on the left, where the historic ancient oven was, is where an Italian couple wished to open a small restaurant which will serve small dishes, pizza and other snacks. And the hope is, they've told us, that it will become a neighborhood facility, a place where people will go and meet after work or every day and hang out and enjoy these.
Where on Salem is that located?
It's 158 Salem Street. It's in the block before the Old North Church on the other side of the street. It's at just before the corner of, is that Chief? Yes, Chief. And it's where Boschetto's Bakery was for nearly 100 years and closed a couple of years ago. So the main entrance, if you're looking at it this way, to Boschetto's is not affected. That's still vacant. It's just to the left of it. There's another area. And the person, Lucia Marinai, and her website is Lucia Marinai at Yahoo. No, it's mygustotoscano.com. But they haven't filed an application yet, so it doesn't go on the agenda until the application is filed. Finally, if you're interested in what happened at the Board of Appeal on May 5th, 3 to 5 Quincy Court was on the agenda for the Board of Appeal, but was deferred by the applicant because they're working with the neighborhood. I just want to re-emphasize that it's working out so well. 47 Charter Street was to expand the first floor into the basement, expand from first floor into basement. That was allowed. 20 Unity Court, which was the building next to the Old North Church, that the owner went through many meetings, observed the process thoroughly, and one would have thought would have sailed through the Board of Appeal, but instead, the Board of Appeal told him to come back with more information because there's only 2.5 feet between his lot and the Old North Church lot. He pointed out at our meetings that there was 70 feet between the lot line and the church, that it was an open garden area, and that the church, in writing, said that they had no intention of building in that open garden area, so that there was plenty of side yard space. But the Board of Appeal wasn't satisfied with that, but asked for more information. And finally, at the Board of Appeal on May 5th, the 1618 Battery Street was on the agenda and was withdrawn by Attorney Toscano. That's the one where, when you go in the front door, he was see
The Airbnb.
checkout time,
Right.
10:30. The building that was being operated as a hotel.
Is that permanently
Without a concierge.
Is it permanently withdrawn, or is it, was it just deferred?
The Board of Appeal denied it without prejudice, which means it can be filed again. And in so doing, they don't give the persons at the hearings the opportunity to speak. I was ready to speak, asking that it be denied with prejudice, but they simply go on with the deferrals, 1, 2, 3, 4.
I don't think they do that, though.
And no opportunity to speak. Finally, letters written in the past year since the meeting of May 8th, 2014, NEWRA wrote 8 letters supporting applications, 5 letters of no objection were written by the executive committee, 3 letters of opposition, 1 was a split vote, yes on one, no on another, and 1 letter did not involve voting. So the total was 18. And I should say that the support letters that were written in the past will no longer be written with that language. And the vote that you're asked to take will no longer be a support vote. It will be a no objection vote because I guess there are 2 reasons. One is the fact that we're 501c3 and supporting commercial enterprises is not a good idea for a charitable nonprofit community organization. And the other is a reason that's close to me, dear to me, which is, as we know, and as I've said many times, sometimes at too much length, that the requirements for variances are very, very strict in the law, and the Board of Appeal for decades has been ignoring them. And therefore, to support a proposal that requires ignoring legal restrictions has always seemed to me to be inappropriate. So that, at least now, rather than support, it will be no objection. End of ZLC report.
Excellent. Thank you, Victor. That was very thorough. And it is, every one of the neighborhood associations in other parts of the city, we did a survey, everyone uses the no objection versus objection nomenclature. We just somehow historically fell into this support thing. It doesn't mean that your vote, if you favor something going forward, it's, you know, that somehow there's a tone change. It's a semantic change, largely driven by the fact that as a 501c3, we would be in violation of IRS law if we supported, say, if we said we supported a liquor license extension that accrued to the benefit of a business owner by letting them make more money selling more liquor. That's forbidden. That you can't do that. But you can decline to object. That's okay. Don't ask me why. That's the way it is.